Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Dallas Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com, brought to you by Window Nation. I am Fort Worth Star-Telegram columnist Mac Engel, otherwise known as Average White Football Commentator. I am joined by my good friend, Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr., who has returned from the weather in Buffalo, here with all of us here in North Texas. Clarence, how was your trip to beautiful Buffalo?
You know what?
Forget the game. Just your trip. How was the trip?
It was, I guess, the most non-eventful trip I've ever taken.
Did you get to do anything fun?
No, I did nothing. I got there. The plane was delayed. There were no. It was hard to get flights. I got a flight at 7:30. It didn't leave at 8. I got there about after midnight, and there were no place to eat. Went to my room. Got up the next morning. Actually, I went to breakfast with a former one of the news columnists, Jock Taylor, who works for JJT Media Group, who wrote a book on Deion Sanders. His dad lives there, so we went to breakfast that morning. I went to breakfast with Jock and his dad. Went to the game. Went back to the hotel after the game, and got on the plane at 6 a.m. to come back home. So before we get into the travesty that was that game, I have told people that of all of these sporting events that I have been fortunate enough to cover, a Buffalo Bills home game at Rich Stadium is one of the most underrated venues and pro sports experiences that I've had. Do you agree or disagree with that? I disagree.
Do you really?
I mean, it looks like a high school stadium. I mean, it's a high school. It's not even Rich Stadium anymore. Number one, it's Highlander Stadium, whatever. No, it's been several iterations since Rich Stadium. So you're dating yourself. It looks like a high school stadium. Okay? It looks like Pennington Field. Okay. First of all, it's rain. I'm not out there in the atmosphere. Okay, man. I'm not walking around with the people. Okay.
This is where Clarence is. He's here.
It was supposed to rain. It was supposed to rain. It was 90% chance of rain. I'm not out of there. I'm not out of there. Okay, I'm not out there with the Bills Mafia. Okay, I don't hang out with the fans anyway. So what are we talking about?
Because Clarence is better than everybody else. That's the message.
I'm working, Matt. I'm here to work.
Don't waste your time with that on me, please.
I get to the game.
I remember one time you and I. Do you remember in 2007? It was Wade Phillips' first season, and you, me, and our former columnist colleague Jim Reeves all went to what was then, I think it was Rich Stadium then, for Cowboys Bills on Monday night. It was the game that Tony Romo threw 3 interceptions, and we left like hours in advance of the game, and we didn't get there because the traffic was so bad.
Awful, right?
That's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's not a great experience. The traffic is still bad. The traffic is awful. After the game, I couldn't get an Uber back to the hotel because they all wanted to pay cash. Everybody was off the clock, and they were trying to get you to pay $6 cash. I said, I want to do it through my app because it's on my phone, and then we're not going to get a ride because, all there are cars everywhere, and you can't get a ride because everybody's off the clock. I finally talked to this taxi guy and taking a credit card, but they were all trying to get cash money off the books at a $30 ride. They were charging $60, which is, the surge. But it was, I'm not talking about immediately after the game. I'm talking about 3 hours after the game.
I was going to say, that's crazy. You were getting double charged because normally by the time you and I are done after a game, the crowd's gone.
Yeah, no, they're gone. It was they were still trying to get you. So
all right. Well, speaking of get you, the Dallas Cowboys got on Sunday in Buffalo. That's a pretty good transition. And our fearless producer, Candy Bolden, came up with the headline that I wrote about. Can't trust the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl, brother. Dallas Cowboys are a really good team, but once again, they have run into a team that shows them that there is a gap. Bills kick around the Cowboys 31-10. It really wasn't that close. Bills running back James Cook looks like a former previous Buffalo running back. We're not going to go O.J. Simpson. Let's go Thurman Thomas. That's safer. James Cook runs 25 times for 179 yards. You like that one, didn't you? Clarence, I didn't think the Cowboys were going to win. I didn't think they'd go up there and repeat the horror show that they pulled off in week 5 when they got their ass kicked by the 49ers in Santa Clara. To me, this one was worse because at least with that one, Cowboys were 3-1. This one, they come in with 10 wins and they're rolling, and then they get it handed to them by a Bills team that's really talented, but it shouldn't have been this big. This was far worse than the game we saw in San Francisco. Talk me off the ledge.
That was worse because when it was. I mean, you're want to be playing your best football in December, and Mike McCarthy talks about that. And certainly, you're not going to be at your best in October or September, and you understand you're building toward a crescendo, and as you head into the playoffs, and the Cowboys were playing their best football, and this was an eye-opening loss. I mean, this no one, you can say what you want about whether you thought the Bills should win. No one saw this type of no-show from the Cowboys. That's just it. It's not. It's a no-show that's most disheartening. Not losing. It's no embarrassment. Lose to a Bills team, and beyond the record, the Bills are a good team. They've been a contender. They've been a perennial Super Bowl contender the last few years. They've been playing well. They just lost a lot of close games, which is why the record suggested it was. But they played well at home. They're good at home, but for them to just give up the ghost like they did on both sides of the ball, that's just it. It's one thing, everybody, it was Dak. It wasn't just Dak. It wasn't just
all of them.
It was the defense. They gave up the ghost on both sides of the ball. It was a complete no-show, complete meltdown, just like in San Francisco. It wasn't just one side of the ball. It was everybody who played a part, including the coaching staff. And you go back to you point to the Eagles loss, but we also point to that Arizona loss. You just can't put that on tape.
Clarence, you and I have seen games before. There's one that jumps off the mind. This was in the Bill Parcells era, where they come out and they get punched in the mouth early by an offensive line, and the other team just gets into the game. They're on top of them right away, and rather than respond, the Cowboys just fold. And that's the part that I didn't see coming. I mean, if you had told me before this game Josh Allen was going to complete 7 passes and it's not snowing, the weather was not great. I know Jerry Jones on his radio show this morning on the Fan was like, oh, the weather. No, Buffalo in December, that was not, for more than half of that game, that weather was not that bad. But if you had told me some of the specifics going into this game, that the Cowboys would just get punched in the mouth and be like, yeah, okay, we're pretty much done. That to me as a fan and as an observer is the part that I didn't see coming, because they hadn't shown that for the better part of 2 months. Where did that come from?
I don't know, and they don't know, and that's just the most disheartening thing with the Cowboys is that they can't put their finger on it. Why they no show on Buffalo? Why they generally have no showed on the road? It's just to play so well at home and to be so bad on the road, especially against good teams like they were against San Francisco and Buffalo. No one can put a finger on it at all.
Well, right now, thanks to the good friends in Seattle and quarterback Drew Lock, the NFC East remains a 2-team race, both at 10-4. Dallas is 10-4. Philadelphia is 10-4, thanks to their loss last night in Seattle on Monday night. Another team in the NFC is also 10-4, and that's Detroit, whom the Cowboys will see at AT&T Stadium in 2 weeks. And the 49ers lead the conference at an 11-3 record. You touched on it. Well, now we have to get into it. You mentioned the Cowboys have no answer for their road woes. Cowboys are 3-4 on the road. They lost at Arizona 28-16. They lost at San Francisco 42-10. They lost at Philadelphia in a game they should have won 28-23. And now they lost at Buffalo 31-10. That's a combined point differential of 129-59. Those are 2 different teams. Are we just going to say this is as a result of playing in balmy 72-degree weather with a roof over your head, no wind, and perfect conditions versus playing on the road? Even though Arizona, the roof was closed. San Francisco, the weather was decent. Philadelphia, the weather was decent. Sports psychologists have delved into this problem for years about figuring out why a team is good on the road versus home. I don't ever recall seeing a disparity quite like this, certainly from this team in 20-plus seasons. Do you?
Yeah, no, and that's the problem with the Cowboys, because they're all talking about we're going to focus on finding out what's wrong and fixing the road woes. But how can you fix something when you have no idea what the problem is? I mean, other than the outcome. I mean, Michael Parsons after the game said it's mind-boggling. He can't put a figure on it. Dak was asked about, I've never been a part of anything like this. And, Mike McCarthy keeps talking about, yes, it's something we have to address. But how do you address it? You're not, the thing, one reason why they say they play well at home is because they allow them to sleep in their own beds. Well, they're not sleeping in their own beds on the road. They can't take Dak can't take a sleep number, okay, on the road. You got a big sleep number. We can't take a sleep number on the road.
Well, wait a minute. Time out. Clarence, aren't the Cowboys like most NFL teams? Don't they sleep in a hotel the night before a game anyways? Even at home?
I wish you would read me sometimes. I wish you would read me.
I do.
No, you don't.
Give me a break. You're reading a lot of words. I'm getting older. You're lucky I remember your name.
No, the Cowboys stopped. Mike McCarthy allows the players to stay at home on the night before home games.
Sorry,
that's one thing it's one thing they've pointed out has been key to their success at home because they're at home and they're comfortable in their own beds. And so, again, you can't emulate that on the road, but goodness gracious, again, it's not just the losses, it's how they're losing, not showing up, and certainly it was eye-opening. And for a Cowboys team that's prided themselves on bouncing back, this Cowboys, have not lost 2 straight games going back to 2020 season under Mike McCarthy. They when they lose, they bounce back and win, and they've done that. But I don't know if they've had a gauntlet like at Buffalo and at Miami. That's going to be tested this week. They think they got a history of bouncing back. They hope they bounce back, but they have not had a gauntlet like this.
Okay, before we go to break, I mentioned the 4 road losses: at Arizona by 12, at San Francisco by 32, at Philly by 5, at Buffalo by 21. I can't believe I did the math on that. Which is the worst one in your mind?
Well, let's be honest. It has to be Arizona because they're 3-11. If Arizona, if they beat Arizona, they're comfortably in first place in the NFC.
Yeah, you're right.
And they're competing for number 1 seed despite the losses at Arizona. I mean, despite the losses at Buffalo and at San Francisco, you can't lose the Arizona game. You can't.
No, you called it, and I'll say you called it right after the game. You said this one is going to haunt them for the entire rest of the season. Here we are, a couple days before Christmas, and it's still haunting them. Okay, We've got a lot more to talk about here on Cowboys Overtime. I'll learn how to speak after the break. But first, a word from our friends at Window Nation.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill the house this season with savings. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and make no interest payments for 60 months, 5 full years. Fill your house for a customized authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Call 866-95-NATION. Window Nation, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you, Window Nation. Matt Kingle, StarTelegram.com. Average white football commentator. He's Clarence E. Hill Jr. Nothing average about Clarence other than that stupid hat. No disrespect. Clarence, Christmas is coming up. Is your shopping started?
Yes, it started. Is it done? No. Christmas. It seemed like Christmas snuck up on me, and I like my hat. You just don't have any style and any flavor. But Christmas, it snuck up on me again. I don't know how it snuck up on me again, but it snuck up on me because I always work. It just snuck up on me. I got a couple of things done. Luckily, my daughter asked for something in November that's very expensive. I said, "That's your Christmas gift."
That's luckily. How'd you score that winning lottery ticket?
I like that.
Oh, my daughter asked for something lucky. Wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah,
so lucky.
She had something. I said, "That's your Christmas gift." And same with my other daughter. She like, can you buy me this? It can be my Christmas gift. So sure, and I already shipped it to her, so I got them out the way.
So what do you want for Christmas?
I don't know.
So I went to the dentist, and apparently I have to get a tooth knocked out. And did you ever see the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks?
Of course.
Okay, remember when he knocked the tooth out by himself?
Mm-hmm.
I might do that because I need that, and of course, insurance doesn't cover it. I'm hopeful that next year the insurance, I just send them money and they don't cover anything. That's fingers crossed. I also need couple new tires, and I need new brakes. So if I had to rank them, and that's kind of like getting socks. If I had to rank them I'm like, which one of these do I need the most? I mean, that's going to be my question. That's an expensive Christmas.
I guess it's when you ask me the question, I guess it's wants and needs. I got a lot of needs. Yeah, I need a new car. I need new tires. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of needs. Dental. I mean, I got lots of needs too. I mean, yeah, we got needs. I need
that's
underwear.
When you know you're older.
I need underwear. I need t-shirts. I need socks. I always generally think of wants. What I want. What do you want? What I want. What I want. What I want to say. I got a lot of needs, baby. I got a lot of needs.
Right there with you. Well, the Dallas Cowboys need their quarterback to return to his MVP form. Another incredible transition by me there, because on Sunday in Buffalo, Dak Prescott took a 12-game shotgun to his MVP chances and loaded up both barrels and shot at those chances by throwing maybe his worst game of the season. 21 of 34 passing, 134 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. And the only thing that he did right that day was not throw 5 interceptions, because Clarence, you noted it, everybody who watched the game, 4 or 5 of those passes that he threw could have been picked off. He just had a terrible day. And of all the statistics that I saw, the thing that blew me away the most was his average per attempt per pass was less than 4 yards. That's really hard in an NFL game. Now, Josh Allen had a terrible game too, so it wasn't like both guys were just going out there and throwing for 500 yards. They were both bad. The difference was Dak's running game really didn't do a lot. His defense was trash, and Josh Allen's defense was good, and his running game was outstanding. The Bills ran for 266 yards. That's like Air Force versus, Sam Houston State in the first half. You don't see those running statistics in an NFL game. Cowboys did it. Okay, so this is what Dak's MVP chances, according to Las Vegas odds makers, looks like today. Brock Purdy, the San Francisco quarterback, he's your leader at minus 190. Dak is not that bad. Plus 450. Lamar Jackson, whom I would put the leader in the clubhouse right now. The Baltimore Ravens quarterback is at plus 500, and the guy coming up behind all of them who's got an outside shot, Christian McCaffrey, the running back of the San Francisco 49ers, he's in the discussion as well. Clarence, the Cowboys have 3 games remaining. I'm of a mind that Dak can still win this award. Do you think he can?
I don't think they beat Miami this week, so no. But yeah, obviously, if they win out, he can. But I think that, to me, Lamar Jackson is the leader in the clubhouse. And Lamar Jackson, he has games against he has games against the 49ers and games against Miami. If he wins those 2 games, I think he's going to be the winner. For sure. And the old-fashioned thing about it is you bring up Brock Purdy, but he and Chris McCaffrey are going to split votes.
Do you think so? Do you think McCaffrey will take votes away from Brock Purdy?
Oh, yeah. I think McCaffrey is the most valuable player on that offense. He and Deebo Samuel, more indispensable.
Oh, no. McCaffrey's not more valuable than the quarterback.
He's a better player.
So that would fall.
He's more indispensable. He's more indispensable than the quarterback. You saw the quarterback when McCaffrey and Deebo didn't play. He was awful. I mean, they lost their 2 games because they were gone. But I'm sorry.
You and I talked about this last week. The quarterback is the MVP now of the league because he's involved in X percent of the offensive play. Hang on. And really, what McCaffrey would be, kind of like Tyreek Hill, is the league's most outstanding offensive player.
My point was that they're
your terms.
My point was they're going to split votes. There's some people going to vote for McCaffrey. You're on the same team. He's a candidate. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm not saying he should win. I'm saying that the possibility of them splitting votes could hurt Brock Purdy's candidacy. That's all I'm saying.
I think Dak can still win it, and this is what it's going to take. He's going to have the next 2 games. I'm not sure if he's obviously playoff seeding is going to determine everything in the week 18 matchup, 18 matchup in Washington. The game's going to mean nothing, but
no, it could mean something for seeding. It
could. Yeah, you're right.
No, and
if
seeding
Dak
matters.
Prescott, though, Cowboys don't lose back-to-back games. They're 1.5-point underdog playing a Miami team that is very good. Miami is 10-4, but beatable. If Dak Prescott goes down, I think he's going to have a good game in Miami. I don't know why. I can't finger it. He's better than what he did. I mean, he was awful against Buffalo. He was so bad, and they all were. I think they're going to beat Detroit. I think they can beat Miami. And if he has a good game, let's say a two, he throws for 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and he follows that up with the similar kind of performance against Detroit, I still think he can win this award. But the Cowboys have got to win out. I think that's the key. They have to win out. And if they win out, I think he's going to win.
Listen, if they win out, he should win. 13-4. What he's done and what important he is to the team and offense. Yeah, he'll be right there again. Like I said a month ago, we don't have to campaign. Dak will win it on the field based on teams they have to play against. If he shows up and plays well over the last month of the season, he will be right there.
Okay, speaking of people that need to play well, the Dallas Cowboys defense did not get off the plane in Buffalo. I mentioned the statistics earlier, and I'll go to it again. The run defense was just awful. Buffalo ran 49 times for 266 yards. That is the 9th time the Dallas defense has given up 100-plus yards rushing. Now, sometimes in those statistics, those are garbage yards because the Cowboys won a lot of blowout games. But if you look at what Arizona did on the ground, San Francisco did on the ground, and Buffalo did on the ground, that's a concern. Looking ahead. Obviously, Miami's running game is a little bit different. Detroit's, all those things. But Clarence, Jerry Jones is on his radio show, and Dan Quinn talked about rookie Mozzie Smith having a pretty good game. And I'm like, what are we talking about? You cannot give up 266 yards on the ground and say anybody on the front seven had a good game. They all stunk.
No, they did, and they got to stop protecting Mozzie Smith. Take the kid gloves off. Stop protecting.
Can he play?
He's been a disappointment. You're making Jonathan Hankins look like Vita Vea. Okay, Jonathan Hankins good. But
that's important. They didn't have John Hankins on Sunday. He made a difference.
No,
not 266 yards.
Agreed, he made a difference, but he was never Vita Vea. Come on, stop it. He was given away to the Cowboys by the Raiders. He was at the end of his career. The Cowboys were desperate because they didn't have anybody in the middle, so they traded for him for
nothing.
Two tomato cans, and they got him. He's been solid. He's been a big guy, run stuff, great kid, great guy in the locker room, love him. But let's not act like he's Vita Vea in the middle of that defense. But you drafted Mozzie Smith to be your run stopper. You drafted him to start over Jonathan Hankins. You drafted him to be a difference maker in the middle of that defense, and he's not been. He's rarely played. He's got minimal snaps. He's got minimal impact. He had to play a lot more on Sunday, and he was part of the defense getting embarrassed. And as Mike McCarthy said, unlike Dan Quinn and unlike Jerry Jones, you're not giving game balls to anybody on that defensive front. They were all bad. It was not just Mozzie, it was DeMarcus Lawrence, all the defensive tackles, all of them, they were all bad. They were all bad. And one thing we have to also point out is that Dan Quinn is beginning to pass. Everybody wants to pick on Dak or pick on offensive coordinator, but that defense, that small defense, that scheme got handled. And they got handled in Arizona when they were pulling guards and doing different things. And certainly looked at on Sunday, a lot of times the Bills would go heavy with extra offensive linemen. But it was against the Cowboys' nickel defense.
I know.
The Cowboys had the nickel out there, and they never changed. They never went heavy. They're smaller linebacker. Love what Marquise Bell has done, but he's under 210 pounds.
But Clarence, if they wanted to go heavy and match that, do they have the personnel to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's one reason why they went after Shaq Leonard, because they need to get bigger at linebacker. But you can't have, at least put 3 linebackers on the field. You can't, have a nickel defense against a heavy offense. When you
especially against a passing game that wasn't throwing the ball well.
No, they didn't have to throw. You said Josh Allen didn't have a good.
You're right.
Yeah, you said Josh Allen didn't have a good game. They didn't need Josh Allen. It was old Michigan going to run it 49 straight times down your throat. It was funny because after the game, inexplicably, the Bills coach gave Josh Allen the game ball when should have given it to James Cook. Josh Allen's like, I feel like, the person who got an A on the class project and I didn't contribute. He did. He completed seven passes. It was really the running back and the running game that gave them fits, which is a concern, especially this week with the running game of Miami. Everybody talks about Tyreek Hill in the passing game, but they have a nice running game. They have speedy backs and A-Chain from A&M and Mostert, I'm sorry. They're going to give the Cowboys fits on the edge. The Cowboys got to run up the middle. They couldn't contain the edge. Those are going to be problems this week. It's certainly be the same problem against Detroit the following week.
So when it comes to this defense, there was one particular player who is as talented as any defender who's ever played in the history of the Cowboys. And he has a podcast where he takes exception to commentators, analysts, probably average white football commentators, not naming names. Clarence, when I look at Micah Parsons, he can do everything. And I know they've weaponized him coming off the end as a pass rusher. You can move him everywhere. Are they missing, or is he missing an opportunity against the run? Because, I realize I'm a Bill Parcells convert when it comes to a lot of things, which is if you've got a good player like that guy, you put him in places to make a difference. I don't care, because you can. You don't worry about where you put him, because that guy can do anything at all times. Are they not using him to their fullest advantage because they're so solely focused on him just rushing the passer?
Well, I think rushing the passer is using him to do what he does best. I mean, I know it's nice to say he could. When you put Mike in the middle, he's not been Ray Lewis. Okay, he's
not built like Ray either.
Well, my point is the idea that he put him at linebacker, he's going to be all over the field and stop the run. That's not been the case. The tape shows that's not necessarily been the case. He's not been, that guy at linebacker either. You can say Sean Lee, whatever. He's not been that guy. What he does best is get after the quarterback and rush the passer.
But Clarence, I mean, wait a minute. How many times though do you think they're? I mean, they've made up their mind. They're going to do it. But if if Leighton Vander Esch is out for the year, Demaryius is hurt. He never got to play. He would have made a difference. I just don't see anybody there in the middle who can. And look, they've won 10 games. This isn't a bad team. Let's be real clear. This is not a bad team, but there is that line. And I'm trying to think personnel-wise or scheme-wise, what can they do to try to fill that? Because you're right. A-Chain and the Dolphins, they watched what Buffalo did. And it doesn't mean it's going to repeat itself. This is a week-to-week league. But can the Cowboys do anything from a personnel or scheme perspective to try to fix this? Otherwise, this problem is going to get them in the playoffs. There's no doubt.
It's definitely going. That's an issue. Especially in December and January, which is why you want to be able to run the ball and want to be able to stop the run in these games. Is when it's weather and all those other things. In every possession matters. Again, the Cowboys have not had a history of being poor tacklers this season.
Yeah.
You outside of the San Francisco game and outside of the Bills and outside of Arizona, they've tackled pretty well. And they're kind of leaning on the fact that we tackle better. If we'd have tackled better, it wouldn't have been the same. And it wasn't just the outside runs. It was, the bend backs and the pushing the pile and different things like that. Where it seemed like Bills finished better. I think the Cowboys will finish better, have a better attitude toward finishing on Sunday against Miami.
Mozzie Smith, are we looking at Taco Charlton time or please tell me it's too early to say that.
Oh, it's definitely too early to say that. It's definitely
They're
too
both
early to say
Michigan
that.
guys who went in the first round. That's why I asked.
Yeah, and the Schoolmaker's a Michigan guy too. And what are you getting from him?
Injuries?
No.
Can we use that?
No, you can't use that. Jake Ferguson's been better, but he's not.
Jake Ferguson's been good.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, except on Sunday. Okay, one more thing before we wrap this up. Clarence, you were wrong last week. You have not been wrong many times at all this season. So now you and I are tied. It's very exciting. Cowboys play on Christmas Eve in Miami against the Fish. Miami is 10-4, like the Cowboys. Miami is favored by 1.5 points. The Bills were favored by 2.5 points. Had no problems covering that spread. Clarence, give me your picks. Straight and against the line.
I'm picking Miami both.
Both. Clarence does not like the Cowboys. Apparently, I'm choking on water here. I'm going to go Cowboys.
Really?
I am.
Really?
Yes, I am. I don't know why.
You're doing this so you can kill them after the game when they lose.
No. Here's why. Whatever we want to say about Dallas, consistently over the last 3 years, when they've lost, they come back pretty good. I at a minimum, I don't think they're going to no-show. But 1.5, that's a field goal. Brandon Aubrey's money in the bank. I just have this weird feeling they're going to win this game. I do. I keep saying this. It's going to play itself out. They're going to lose in the divisional round, just like they always do. But I just have this weird feeling they're going to win this game. And when I'm wrong, I will kill them. All right. This has been fun. Clarence, it's good to talk to you. I'm wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all everybody. Candy, that goes to you too, and everybody watching at home, online, any place else. For all of your Cowboys coverage needs, make sure to follow Clarence work from Miami Cowboys at Dolphins on Christmas Eve. Happy holidays. We'll see you next week.